So what if I told you that the blueprint for all life isn't just written in the language of DNA, but also in the language of math? Today, we're diving into a really fascinating and, yeah, kind of controversial theory that suggests exactly that, the pi mass code. I mean, think about it. The building blocks of life, DNA, RNA, proteins, we're all taught they're the product of chemistry and evolution, right? But what if there's something else going on? Another layer of order, a hidden mathematical pattern that's been sitting there right under our noses this whole time. Well, it all kicks off with a statistical finding that is so perfect, it's almost hard to believe. When you take a look at over 200 million proteins, a massive data set, you find this, a near-perfect 50-50 balance in their composition. Now, from a purely biochemical standpoint, this shouldn't be happening. Some amino acids are way more common than others. The data should be all skewed, but it's not. This isn't just some random fluke. This is a gigantic biological database practically screaming that there's a deeper rule at play. So what is it? This puzzling balance, this stunning equilibrium, it's not actually a new discovery. It's a mystery that's been quietly unfolding for decades. Our story really gets going in 1999 with a French researcher named Jean-Claude Perez. He was looking for patterns where honestly nobody else really thought to look, in the very atoms that make up the building blocks of proteins, the amino acids. And he was so convinced he was onto something huge, he actually filed a patent for it, calling it genetic atomic code tuning. So at the very heart of his whole idea is something called the pi mass code. And it's a simple idea, but it's also kind of powerful. The idea is to assign a single number to each amino acid, not based on what it does in the body, but on what it's physically made of, the atoms in its structure. And this is it. This is the original table, right from Perez's patent. Look how simple it is. Every single one of the 20 essential amino acids just gets a whole number, from -1 to +4. This simple little act of sorting, well, it turns out it's the key to this whole thing. Now, the really crucial thing to remember here is that this isn't some arbitrary system. Perez didn't just pull these numbers out of a hat. The pi mass number comes directly from the atoms that make up each amino acid side chain. It's a fundamental physical property. So, with these numbers assigned, Perez then did something incredibly simple. He just split all 20 amino acids into two groups. Partition 1, or P1, gets the ones with the lower values, -1, 0, and +1. Partition 2, P2, gets the rest. And it's in these two simple groups that's where the magic starts to happen. Okay, look, an idea is one thing, a cool pattern is another. But does it actually hold up against real-world data? This is where the story gets really interesting. Turns out that 50-50 balance wasn't just a one-off. It's been tested again and again as our biological databases have gotten absolutely massive over the years. Let's just follow the timeline here. The first hint of this balance actually popped up way back in 1994. Perez, as we know, patented his idea in '99. And then, things went quiet for a while. But then, in 2006, an independent researcher, David Coates, decided to rerun the numbers on a database that was 15 times larger. And what he found was, well, it was stunning. Just look at how incredibly stable this is. Back in '94, with around 38,000 proteins, the split was almost perfectly 50-50. Then you look at a totally different data set, human mitochondria, same thing. And then in 2026, with over 500,000 proteins, the balance holds. It's like it's a fundamental, conserved feature of life itself. But that's not even the whole story. The 2026 verification didn't just confirm the old finding. It turned up something else, something hiding in the data that even Perez hadn't seen. A second, totally independent mathematical relationship. And here it is. When you calculate the average pi mass value for each of those two partitions, the difference between them is consistently plus 3 pi tenths. And yes, that is pi, the same number that describes circles popping up in the fundamental math of proteins. This isn't just a weird pattern, it's a precise, independent mathematical constant. So, up to this point, we've only been talking about proteins. But the pi mass theory claims to be a metacode, something that unifies all three of life's languages. So the big question is, does this mathematical harmony show up in RNA too? Okay, let's unpack this for a second. In our cells, RNA uses these three-letter words called codons. Each codon has a matching anti-word, the anticodon. Well, Perez assigned a pi mass value to these RNA codons too. And when he did, he found something incredible. If you add the pi mass value of any codon to its anticodon, you always get the exact same answer. For years, this was just a really weird pattern that somehow seemed to work every time. But in that 2026 paper, David Coates actually proved it with a simple 2-line algebraic proof. It wasn't a coincidence anymore. It was a mathematical theorem. It had to be true. And what was that constant number? Get this. It was exactly -3 pi over 10. Notice the magnitude there. It's the exact same 3 pi over 10 that we saw in the protein data, just with a negative sign. Now that is a huge clue. It strongly suggests there's a deep mathematical link connecting the world of proteins and the world of RNA. So what does this all mean? I mean, if these patterns aren't just a series of unbelievable coincidences, then the implications they're staggering. It really points to a level of order in biology that we're only just beginning to even comprehend. And, this idea has started to attract some very serious attention. Luc Montagnier, the Nobel laureate who co-discovered HIV, he actually wrote a preface for one of Perez's papers. He called it a mathematical harmony, a higher order present in all living beings. High praise. The proponents of this theory think it could have some really far-reaching applications. Could we use a mathematical signature like this to search for life on other planets? Could it help us understand the kind of genomic chaos that leads to cancer? Could we even apply its information principles to build better AI? I mean, these are the huge questions this theory forces us to ask. Which brings us right back to our big question from the start. We've seen the 50-50 balance in millions of proteins, we've seen the recurring appearance of pi, and we've seen an unbreakable algebraic link between RNA codons. So I'll just leave you with this to think about. Are these just beautiful numerical quirks of our universe? Or are we actually glimpsing the shadow of a deeper blueprint, a mathematical structure that underpins the very fabric of life itself? The answer, whatever it is, could change everything.